Good afternoon. As Professor Jenkins said, my name is Andrew Hager. I'm a philosophy major with minors in comparative religion and psychology. I'm going to be talking to you about the ethical and moral application of Jean-Paul Sartre's existential philosophy. Throughout time, countless philosophers have offered answers to the same general question: how ought one live his or her life? Sartre answers this question from an existential perspective. He begins with fundamental questions like, why do we exist? What is our purpose? What value do we have as human beings? The conclusions which he comes to are strong in their conviction and harsh in their consequence. For Sartre, life has no meaning beyond what we give it, and we hold ultimate responsibility for all of our actions, including our own birth. My thesis explores Sartre's view of a meaningful life and argues that, in spite of a godless existential world that is devoid of inherent meaning, he does not believe that there is no difference between moral and immoral actions. However, he does not successfully tell us how we can both be completely free and also morally bound to each other. As stated by Jean-Paul, existence precedes essence for human beings. But what exactly does this mean? For Sartre, there is no God, there is no soul, and no pre-existing standards for human beings. There is no human nature. In other words, there is nothing to give human beings an essence which precedes our existence. We exist and then we create our essence, so to speak. Human beings have no inherent purpose for being alive and have no value outside of the context of their individual and unique lives. If life is inherently meaningless, does Sartre condemn us to a life devoid of optimism and happiness? Is he promoting a self-involved nihilism? On the contrary, Sartre argues that his philosophy is optimistic and liberating. By giving up an idea of human essence, we gain freedom. In fact, Sartre argues that we are condemned to be free. And this freedom is the road to an authentic existence. Sartre believes that each human being is in complete control of everything that happens to him or her. Destiny or fate is a farce, and little happens without the will of human beings. But what is the result of denying all of these things which so many people hold dear in their lives? Human beings are now completely free in every facet. With no God guiding us and no fate controlling us, human beings can choose to do or choose not to do anything. In fact, we must choose. But this idea of perpetual freedom does not come without consequences. For those who realize its truth, it causes an existential crisis. Individuals who take seriously Sartre's view of ultimate freedom and individual responsibility are often confronted with perpetual feelings of angst and anxiety. As philosopher Gary Gunning describes it, it is a constant nagging at a human's existence that persists forever through time. Here, man recognizes that there is no immediate or even impending danger, but still has the urge to jump. Human beings are overwhelmed with our freedom. We are unable or even unwilling to entertain the idea that we are the only thing guiding our existence. Yet for many, myself included, this philosophy of complete freedom is liberating and invigorating. If our lives are truly our own responsibility, then we must do everything with our power to create a rich life. As Sartre describes it, each human being will create a fundamental project. This is a project which something each human being wishes to complete in their lifetime. It will be both a source of pride and meaning. For Sartre, the purpose of one's life should be to complete this project or projects. Choices must be made in the best interest of the individual and only of the individual. For Sartre, this is what it means to live an authentic life. Any choice or action made outside of the will or utmost desire of each individual is in bad faith. An individual who is in bad faith avoids his or her freedom. This person does not always do what he or she wants to do and often lies to him or herself. Often a person chooses inauthenticity because it is easier. Sartre has a great disdain for these individuals. As I have attempted to show you, the work of Jean-Paul Sartre is strong and steadfast in nature. He encourages us to confront harsh realities of human existence. Sartre's philosophy is damned by many, but should be seen for its optimism that it grants humankind. We have the ability to will any sort of existence we choose, within limits, of course. We are in fact responsible for the condition of the world in which we live. As Sartre stated, the most terrible situations of war, the worst tortures, do not create a non-human state of things. There is no non-human situation. Everything is human. But doesn't all this emphasis on freedom and a lack of human essence also condemn us to a world without morality? Aren't moral systems based on a belief in right and wrong which Sartre's philosophy of freedom dismantles? I argue in my thesis that, on the contrary, the collective work of Jean-Paul Sartre proposes an ethical and moral system for humankind. Regardless of whether or not the author explicitly states this, Sartre tends for his system of thoughts to be taken as the quintessential blueprint for which human beings ought to follow in order to conduct an authentic life, which is also respectful of all people. However, I also argue that this is highly problematic. How can we simultaneously support the authenticity and freedom of each human being while attempting to uphold the freedom of fellow human beings and the happiness of everyone? Sartre tries to confront this problem, but ultimately cannot resolve it. Yes?
I guess my problem is there are other existential philosophers,
Yes.
like Kierkegaard, who decided that it was important to take a leap of faith and make a choice, either for faith or against faith.
Yes.
And there was Nietzsche, who believed that you should reject kind of a serious view of life, or at least a grave view of life, in favor of something more akin to joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like this is such a grim way of looking at existence. Why shouldn't we give a nicer face to existentialism? Where does the imperative to embrace absolute freedom come from?
For me, yes, I think the hard part is it is so damning of things at the beginning. I think existentialists must deconstruct the given world as people know it and attempt to build from the ground up. As I attempted to show, the ability to have complete freedom also gives you the ability to will the world you wish to see. Nothing is without the ability to be created simply by human will. So while religion and God is pushed aside and left alone, for me personally especially, the ability to know that the world can become as we would like it to be is within our power is what is so liberating. Nothing is without human creation. And the fact that it can come from the hands of human beings is all the more important and special, I think, to existentialists, that it can be created through one's own will. Yes?
Do you think that it's still acting in bad faith if you say, I'm going to live my life freely as an existentialist, because then are you just choosing to live in to take on another role and to act in accordance with another lifestyle? So would that still be bad faith, or?
No, because I don't believe the existentialist believes you're living as an existentialist. If you follow an existential mindset, you're simply stating that you will not be guided by pre-existing standards, by religions, by theories. You will simply bring meaning to your own life, however you choose that to be, and there is no value judgment placed on how you choose to bring meaning to your life and how another chooses. So I don't believe it's an entire system. It's simply a small structure to get you going on the path that you would like to endure.
Okay, one more.
Yes.
I have a need to educate students, to help them grow and so forth.
Yes.
So I'm putting aside other things about myself. Am I living in bad faith?
Yes.
There's a problem with obligation.
Yes, there is. This is a question, or?
Within Sartre's philosophy, what counts as obligation?
Obligation is simply to the individual. You have no obligation to any other human being anywhere unless you make it your project. If you feel it's a need to be obligated to another human being, if you make those choices for yourself, which is selfish in a way, then that's fine. But there is no need to help any other human being within his system, unfortunately. Yes.
And one more.
So we've often heard about the human condition and the pursuit of happiness. You talk a lot about freedom, and every time I hear freedom, I'm reminded of the other great 20th 20th century philosopher Chris Christopherson, who said, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. So is freedom the destination? Is it a byproduct?
I simply see it as the foundation with which you work with. I mean, you have freedom to do what you wish, but the purpose is to use freedom as a tool to make your life meaningful. So I see it as a tool, not a destination. Initially, it's the catalyst to begin this life of existentialism. You must realize that you're free. You must give up all other things. And then it's simply a tool to look towards what you would like to create as meaning throughout your life.
Thank you.